pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning and welcome to the February 17th County Commission meeting. I'd remind you to silence your cell phones. Meeting documents are on the end of the counter next to Commissioner Bender. And if you need a listening device, Robert is in the front row and he can help you with that. Okay. Go ahead.
Routine business. Number one is consider a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second to approve the agenda. Are there any additions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Second item is a motion to approve the County Commission minutes from 2/10/2015.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
A motion,
Second.
a second. Are there any additions or corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Third item on routine business is the bills to be paid in the amount of $722,697.71.
Move approval. Second.
A motion and a second. Are there any comments on the bills? Commissioner Barth?
Today's bills include 163 separate items on mental illness. We don't always have that many, but there are quite a few today.
Okay. Any other comments on bills? A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Go ahead, go on.
Item number 4 are the reports. And the first one would be the Siouxland Heritage Museum Alliance 2014 annual report. And we just go through them, right? Okay. The second one would be the Siouxland Heritage Museum's 2014 annual report. And the third one is South Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs 2014 annual report. And the fourth one is the Register of Deeds official statement of revenue collected in January 2015. I believe all those reports are on file in the auditor's office. Personnel actions number 5, and Carrie Deaver. Is Carrie here?
You just read
Okay.
that. She doesn't give a brief.
Okay. We consider a motion to approve the routine personnel actions.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
A second? I have a motion and a second on routine actions. Are there any questions for Carrie? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
6, application for abatements. There are none. Number 7, notice and requests. A is to authorize the county auditor to publish notice to bidders for the 2015-2016 annual highway materials for the Minnehaha County Highway Department. And okay.
Good morning, DJ.
Good morning, Commissioners. DJ Boothie, Highway Superintendent. This is our annual materials letting. We have 12 separate proposals that we let this year that is going to make up for quite a bit of materials that we purchase. Most notably, I guess, is probably asphalt and then also salt. This year we're also doing some salt sand. Last year we tried to do salt sand and it did not work out because of the percentage of sand that we had mixed in with the salt. But this year we changed that. We've been working with suppliers, local suppliers, to make sure that we specify the right kind. So this year we have 12 separate proposals that we're requesting to have authorization for advertising with this notice to bidders.
Okay. Are there any questions for DJ? Commissioner Barth?
This year we're not doing the recycled shingles, is that right?
Well, recycled shingles are in the standard mix, and so we will have recycled shingles. We're not doing the mix that has a really significant high percentage. It's just more of a standard mix, so we'll have competitive bids between multiple vendors.
If I may, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Barth.
But this letting isn't going to preclude any particular provider from providing those materials?
No, and I did just misspeak. We will have recycled asphalt in our mix. We will not have recycled shingles in our mix. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Any other questions for DJ this morning? Not, I'd look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I do have another question, I guess.
Commissioner Barth?
So none of the potential bidders have any objections to these?
Not that I'm aware of. We have met with 2 of the bidders that we are familiar with, interested in bidding in the project, and they're both comfortable with the way that we have put together this year.
Great.
Thank you. I'd look for a motion.
I'll move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to authorize the auditor to publish notice to bidders on our annual highway materials contract. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
The second item on notice and request is the East Dakota Water Development notice of meeting at 9 o'clock a.m. Tuesday, February 17th at the East Dakota Water Development District Office at 132B Airport Avenue in Brookings, South Dakota.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Barth.
I'm liaison to that, and obviously their meeting started 5 minutes ago, just like this one. So I have a member of the planning department attending in my stead.
Okay, thank you.
Number 8 is planning and zoning notices. We have none. Item number 9 is a petition for compromise of lien. We have Jeff Barth is going to report on DPNO 33811 for the amount of $1,502.60.
Commissioner Barth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, we've got a request for a compromise of county lien. The applicant is in the process of purchasing a home. The closing is scheduled for early March. They're going to have significant costs for closing, etc. The title search found the lien against the applicant and her ex-husband. The lien is for public defender and poor relief. There have been a couple of payments of up to $430, bringing the account to the current balance of $1,502.60. The applicant is employed, lists assets of just under $5,000. The applicant is requesting that her name be released from the lien upon payment of $500. The balance of the lien would remain against her ex-husband, and the public defender liens were incurred by the ex-husband at the time they were separated. And I will say that it appears that he's the one that has made the payments to this point. So I guess the applicant would ask her name to be released, leaving it against the ex-husband is the way I would see it. I don't know if there's anyone here that would want to speak on this issue.
If the applicant is here, they could speak on this application. I'm not seeing anybody moving, so.
Well, I will float a motion to accept $500 to release the female spouse from this lien, leaving it against her ex-husband.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to release the lien against the petitioner and leave the remaining, with a payment of $500, leaving the remaining amount against the ex-spouse, who I believe incurred the charges that are against him. Are there any questions, Commissioner Kelly?
In her narrative, she says, though married from July of 07 to September of 12, we're separated in June of 2009. I moved back to Sioux Falls at this time. What was it, our public defender, or what is it, a lien from some other county, or what?
If I may.
Yes.
As far as I understand it, it is our public defender. The public defender fees, as it appears from our records, were incurred in favor of her ex-husband. The poor relief I can't speak to. I don't know who was the primary beneficiary of that. Of course, as I've said before on these, no matter what a divorce decree says, there's a duty to support under our statutes. Therefore, they're enforceable, and that's why she's asking for their release and making her request. So,
Are there any other questions or comments? I have a motion and a second to release the applicant for payment of $500, leaving the remaining $1,002.60 against the ex-husband. Are there any other questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed,
No.
Same side. Motion passes 4-1. This is a time for public comment. If there's anyone that would like to speak to the commission on a subject other than what's on the agenda, this would be the time to do it. And I don't see anyone, so we can move on. Regular business.
On regular business, the first item, number 10, is to consider a motion to authorize a $150,000 transfer from the general fund to the emergency fund, emergency management fund in accordance with the 2015 budget. Darlene Johnson.
Good morning, Commissioners. Darlene Johnson from the Auditor's Office. This is an annual request we make each year. During our budget process, we allocate a certain portion of general funds to support the emergency management fund. And for the 2015 budget, that amount was $115,000. So we need to have your approval to do that transfer.
Any questions for Darlene? Look for a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to authorize the auditor to transfer $150,000 from the general fund to the emergency management fund. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Darlene, would you mind introducing your new employee to us? I've met Kim, and maybe, Kim, you could just take 2 seconds and come up and say good morning to the rest of the commission. Sorry to put you on the spot. But you're here.
This is Kim Adamson. She is the Finance and Budget Officer, new in the Auditor's Office as of last week.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming, and welcome on board.
Pleasure is all mine.
Thank you. Okay.
Item number 11 is to authorize the chairman to sign the equitable sharing agreement through the asset forfeiture program between Minnehaha County and the U.S. Department of Justice. Kristen?
Good morning, Kristen Trana from the Sheriff's Office. I bring to you kind of routine action. I bring it about this time every year. It's part of the asset forfeiture program. And like I've noted in my memo, it's kind of more of a proactive. We don't have anything right now, but just in case anything would come up, then we already have this in place.
Any questions for Kristen?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Barth?
why do they call it equitable?
That's a loaded question.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's an agreement to share, but I don't know that it's equitable.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept it, or have the chair sign it.
Okay. I'll second. And a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you so much.
Item number 12 is to authorize the chairman to sign an agreement between Minnehaha County and Infrastructure Design Group in the amount of $48,629.20. And this is for final design engineering on bridge structure 50-243-100. And description of that is it's on County Highway 122, 2 miles south of Arrows. DJ.
Commissioners, DJ Boothie again, Highway Superintendent. Bob Litz kind of stole my thunder there. This bridge is on County Highway 121 and does have a significant average daily traffic volume. And this structure is posted currently, and we have done the preliminary engineering. The TS&L report came back recommending a 2-span continuous concrete bridge with 60 feet in length at an estimated cost of $490,000. And so this agreement will authorize the consultant IDG to complete the final design and prepare plans for bidding. And we hope to complete this project in 2015.
Are there any questions for DJ on this bridge? There are a lot of steps involved in getting a bridge ready. When you do the preliminary design, then you do the final design, and then you build the bridge. It's probably going to cost us like $600,000.
The total project cost is more than likely around $600,000 or even more.
Yeah. I would look for a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, but I have a comment from the State's Attorney's
Yes,
Office.
the draft contract that was sent out to you in your information packets contained a section that I have advised be omitted. It basically has no effect because it refers to a ordinance code that does not exist for Minnehaha County. It would be section 4.2. I would ask that any motion to approve on item 12 as well as items 13 and 14 coming up omit that section in your finalized version for approval. I guess you'll need a substitute motion now.
Commissioner Barth.
I'm willing to certainly do the substitute, but which part is it there?
It's section 4.2.
It's civil rights requirements.
It refers to a section of the code that we don't have, so it has no effect. So I would ask that it be removed.
Commissioner Benega.
In my description, 4.2 is H plats. Doesn't have anything to do with any county code.
Are you on the
Item
number
12.
12?
Oh, thought you said 4, sorry.
Sorry. Item 12, 4.2.
I'll have my hearing adjusted, make them equitable.
We'll give you a hearing device. How'll that be?
Huh?
So where are we at? You got a motion?
No, we do not yet.
I will, we do have a motion.
We have a
but
motion and a
I will amend
second.
my motion.
We have a
And I
motion
will
with an
second in
amendment.
agreement with Commissioner Benega.
We have a motion and a second amended. So we'll vote on the amended motion first, which is to approve the contract with the omission of 4.2. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed unanimously. Now we vote on the original motion.
You substituted it, so yes,
Okay, now
approve
we're-
the contract as
So now we
amended.
will vote on the amended motion.
So move.
No, it's the original.
All those, we already,
Yep, to approve the contract.
to
as
approve the
amended.
contract as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, that one's done. Number 13.
Item number 13 is to authorize the chairman to sign an agreement between Minnehaha County and HDR Engineering in the amount of $29,885.80 for design engineering services on bridge structure 50-192-040. And that's on County Highway 110, 2 miles south of Del Rapids and 1.5 miles east of I-29. DJ.
Commissioners, this structure is on County Highway, again, 110, just southwest of Del Rapids. And there is a link there in your packet for a location map. It's along the Big Sioux River. It is a Big Sioux River structure. And this project is for low slump overlay, which is a deck treatment similar to what we did with HDR and another, and with a contractor on Highway 109 last year. We expect this contract is going to be, the construction portion of it, probably around $300,000. These types of contracts are very difficult to estimate because of the quantity of work variation that happens in the field when we actually get a chance to open up the bridge deck and see what kind of a condition it is. And so this will get HDR rolling with the plans and have a set of documents prepared for us that will allow us to do a notice to bidders.
Look for a motion with the omission of, 4.2.
I'll move to adopt, to
Authorize.
authorize the, with the deletion of 4.2.
Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Authorize chairman to sign the agreement between Minnehaha County and HDR Engineering with the omission of section 4.2. Any questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 14 is to authorize the chairman to sign agreement between Minnehaha County and Banner Associates in the amount of $29,800 for design engineering for 2015 county bridge maintenance projects. DJ.
Commissioners, this contract is a result of our bridge inspections that we received from 2014. It is heavy maintenance work that is proposed to be completed, something that is relatively easy to contract out. We are proposing to do 2 different construction contracts or sets of plans as a result of this engineering agreement for work on 15 structures throughout the county. The 2 different work items generally are bridge railing installation and upgrades and bridge bearing replacements. And so this work should be completed in 2015 and be very good for our structures. Again, heavy maintenance that we don't typically do with our in-house maintenance staff.
Any questions for DJ on item number 14? We look for a motion with the omission again of section 4.2.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to authorize the chairman to sign the agreement between Minnehaha County and Banner Associates with the omission of section 4.2. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 15 is to authorize the chairman to sign an agreement between Minnehaha County and the South Dakota Department of Transportation in the amount of $113,067.24. The county's share of that would be $85,626.59, and this is to stripe approximately 134 miles of county highway in 2015. PJ.
Commissioners, we have started doing striping on half the county basically every year, split it somewhere around the interstate, east and west, and we started that. This will be, I believe, our second year, or maybe it's our third year. I can't remember, honestly. But it has worked well for us. It was kind of a pilot project when we first started it. It does save us a good amount of money, and we have not been able to notice a significant loss in the level of service that we provide. And so this contract authorizes the DOT to move forward with their project and help us out with striping our roads. And so we request approval to move forward with the DOT.
Any questions for DJ on the road striping? I look for a motion.
Move for approval.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second to authorize the chairman to sign the agreement between Minnehaha County and South Dakota Department of Transportation for road striping. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 16 is the annual review of Minnehaha County Facility Power Outage Response Protocol. Ken McFarland.
Commissioners, back in November of 2011, you adopted a facility power outage response protocol. This was based on, you might recall that year, we actually had several outages that were caused in the downtown area, which precipitated the enactment of this policy. We had an effective date on it of January 1 of 2012, and the policy also requires an annual review by this commission, and that each year. Basically, if you go through the policy, it talks about things that depart, areas of responsibility for not only the sheriff's department, facilities department, what are some department head responsibilities, what are the responsibilities for IT, and what are the responsibilities of the employees if in fact the power goes out in our facilities. The one thing that I really want to draw to your attention is that there is a policy that states that if the power outage lasts for more than 1 hour, or if in the event that the facilities director determines that the outage is causing some life safety issues, then the chairman and that of the county commission has the authority to order the closure of the facility and send the employees home during the duration of the outage. And that, so this is a little bit I wanted to point that out because there is some other specific authority regarding weather outage, weather-related emergencies that gives the chairman the power to close down the facility. But this was an instance, and we've had outages that have extended for several hours, in our facilities. So, again, this is just your opportunity to review the policy. We're sending it out to the department heads just to make sure that they review it once again with their staffs and make sure that staff is aware of what happens if we lose power in the facility. Some of our facilities have backup generators. Some of them don't. This one in particular doesn't have a backup power supply. So this is an important issue, and it's just your opportunity to review the policy on an annual basis. So,
any questions for Ken? Commissioner Kelly?
Ken, I think somewhere in a reference says what the decision's based on partly the provider saying when will they get the power back up, but isn't the standard answer 2 to 5 hours or 2 to 4 hours? And
we hear that a lot.
Yeah, and so it gets a little difficult sometimes to really determine whether or not it's going to be an hour and 15 minutes or whether it's going to be 4 hours.
And as it starts dragging out, like I said, what we will do is, we'll be in contact not only with the power company, but this places a heavy responsibility on facilities too, to help us determine what, in their opinion, whether or not there are some life safety issues that are being created because of the fact that the power is down, and that goes into a lot of the decision-making process that we will go through before we'll call the chairman and request that authorization if need be. We don't do that very often, but it is there in case it's needed.
There's also a clause in there that says that if we send people home because of a power outage, they can also be recalled during the day if the electricity comes back on again. So, are there any other questions for Ken? We'll look for a motion.
We don't need a motion.
Oh, we don't.
It's
Okay.
just a review.
Okay. Thank you.
Item number 17 is to seek authorization for distribution of applications for Minnehaha County Surface Ambulance Service License for County Ambulance Dispatch Area number 5. Ken, again.
Commissioners, you'll recall back in October of 2014 that you awarded 2-year licenses for all of our primary service areas in the county. I'll run those through for you real quickly. Del Rapids Community Ambulance for Primary Service Area 1, Garrettson for Primary Service Area 2, Humboldt Fire and Ambulance Service for Primary Service Area 3, Jasper for Primary Service Area 4, Rural Metro Ambulance for Primary Service Area 5, and MedStar Paramedic Ambulance for Primary Service Area number 6. And the action that you took back then was to award a 2-year license covering the 2016 through 2017 periods, 2015 and 2016 periods for all of the services. As we noted during that review at that time, there was some question about the impact that the city's review of ambulance service would have on us. And you made the choice at that time to go ahead and give the license award to Rural Metro for that Rural Service Area 5, hopefully pending a review of what happened with the city. Well, as you know, the City of Sioux Falls has awarded a contract to Paramedics Plus, and I believe that's effective on May 21st of 2015. Our emergency management department has been contacted by representatives from Rural Metro indicating that they will not look at continuing that license application for that service area, primary service area number 5, past the May 21st deadline, or when the new contract takes place. So what we're asking for you today is for authorization to distribute applications to other providers that are out there, and that's for primary service area number 5, effective May 21 of 2015. Now, in the application, we have in fact allowed providers to submit other proposals that they may wish to do as far as covering that service area, but the primary thrust of our application process is for primary service area number 5, and that beginning on May 21. Once we have a deadline for these applications to be submitted back to the county by March 13th of 2015. We have the application packets ready to go. We're sending them. We are sending them out to all of our providers in the area, except for Jasper, because they're so far up in that corner, and that's so. But we have applications ready to go to all of them, and that's one. And we've put a copy of the letter in there for your review. So with that in mind, again, we're just asking for authorization to submit that, to distribute those applications, and if you grant that, we will send that out today. Once we get the applications back, we'll go through our same process with Dr. Luther, reviewing all of the applications to make sure that they conform to license requirements, and then we'll bring that issue back to you. I mean, I should point out at this time, I'm aware that there may be some of the ambulance companies that may want to adjust boundaries, at this time, but I would remind you that the boundaries are set by ordinance, And so if you are going to contemplate any boundary revisions whatsoever, we need to go through an ordinance revision and have that hearing and notice a hearing and have that in place before you would primarily solicit applications for licensing. So I'm just telling you that that is a possibility that is out there that I've heard. And so my recommendation would be we just continue the licensing for primary service area number 5 for the remainder of the license period, and then if we're taking a look at any adjustments to boundaries, perhaps we did look at that during the next licensing period. But that's something you may want to consider. But for now, we're just asking that we submit, authorize the distribution of applications for primary service area number 5.
Are there any questions for Ken on the ambulance issue? Commissioner Barth.
Ken, have any of the providers suggested they're interested?
Yes. Yeah, we've had some positive feedback that I think, I'm sure we're going to get applications back.
Are there any?
And again, we're sending them to all of our current providers with the exception of Jasper, and we are sending a packet to Paramedic Plus as well.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Ken? Look for a motion to authorize the distribution of the applications.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Ken.
Item number 18 is a briefing on a request to purchase certain properties owned by Minnehaha County. The ID number 14086 and ID number 14088. Ken again.
Commissioners, here a few weeks ago we received a proposal from a landowner up in Corson who was interested in purchasing 2 lots that the county owns up in the city of Corson, and I provided you with a map to show you where those 2 lots were. Now, the county acquired those 2 lots as part of a highway reconstruction project several years ago when they were widening some of the roadways, both going in and out of Corson and a road to the industrial park. And we received those through donation. So obviously, they're not taxable right now. We just hung on to them. We really haven't done anything to them. But again, we did receive the request from a private individual who was interested in purchasing the property in order to add on to some adjacent property that he said he had and is going through some rezoning. Now, I would remind you that the county doesn't have the ability, particularly when we're dealing with real estate like this, to enter into just a separate deal with someone and that right from the get-go to say, yes, we are going to sell property to you. I mean, we can only sell property by one of 3 methods, and we've put that in the memo for you to describe what those options are. And very quickly, you can sell it by sealed bids, you can sell it by public auction, or you can contract with some notice provisions with a realtor in order to list the property and then to bring you offers for the sale of the property. All of which will require an initial step of you making a decision whether or not this is property that you want to sell anyway. You need to do a declaration of a motion to surplus the property, and then you're going to have the property appraised before we can do anything. So I'm not asking for I'm not asking for an action from you today, or to decide if you want to sell, or if you do, which one of these methods that you want to sell. But I did promise the person who had submitted the letter that I would bring this issue to you, that this was an option that you might want to explore. I know, Bob, we have some other tax deed properties that we've gotten through the years that we may use that as an opportunity to dispose of those as well. But again, these are properties that we got by donation. It wasn't through a tax deed proceeding, from what I remember, and it's just property that we've just been holding on to for several years, and we really don't have a purpose for it at this juncture. And that unless Highway decides that maybe they need it for some additional right-of-way, but at this juncture, I'm not aware of that.
Any questions?
And the applicant, the person who made the request is here, and perhaps he may want to make some comments as well.
Okay. Are there any questions for Ken? Commissioner Bendigo.
Ken, when the property was donated to the county, were there any stipulations, or was it...
I don't recall that there was, but that is something that we're going to have to probably look in more detail. If I'm not mistaken, there may have been some structures there that had to be taken out when the highway was widened, but I'm not sure of that as well, but I seem to recall that from several years ago.
It would seem to me that the first thing we need to look at is if the donor had restrictions on the property and the gifting of that needs to be honored.
Are there any other questions for Ken? Commissioner Kelly.
I'm not sure if this is for you or Kirsten, but is it possible for us to lease long-term the property to someone and just base the rent on what the taxes would be if it was privately owned?
Yeah, there's certain provisions for leasing of property. I'd rather advise you on the specifics of that, maybe more completely through a memo. But there are certain requirements that you have to follow in the leasing of property. In fact, we just had a South Dakota Supreme Court case interpreting those statutes, so I'd also want to review that as well, a case coming out of Hot Springs. So, but I would be happy to provide you all with a briefing on procedures by which you can lease property.
And I know there are some statutory provisions for leasing that you've got to make it an open process, that kind of thing as well.
Of course, depending on what the proposed usage is, that may curtail that method of anyway.
So you're going to look at?
Yes, I will provide you with a briefing on that.
Okay. Are there any, Commissioner Barth?
Ken, do we know that we won't need these properties again for working on Highway 11?
And that we haven't had a need for them. The only thing that I can think of that we may have a future need for, and this would be something we need to discuss with Highway if in fact we would need this for any other kind of future road construction or right-of-way purpose. I mean, that's the original reason why we got the properties in the first place.
Any other questions for Ken? Commissioner Barth?
And, I guess I'm familiar with the fact that we pick up occasional properties through the tax deed process. Do we have a lot of little lots like this laying around the county that belong to us?
Bob's got a good handle on that. We've actually got another quite large piece of property that sits along one of the interstate exchanges that we've had for quite some time. The original intent of that was to hold on to it for, I know, some potential bike path expansion, when that was a project that was under consideration. But that's been a property that we've had for quite some time. I know the highway has used it for some material storage, when there's highway projects going on for some gravel, for state projects in the area. But we've got a few of them.
Did you want to comment? Auditor Litz.
No, well, there are a couple of things, and I would say, and that, as I looked at the map where they expanded the highway that went north to go up out of Corson, that was part of it. But even more important for this property here was when they built the industrial road that goes west into the industrial park. That ate into this property pretty good and diminished the value of the property unless you have something that's contingent to it. Also, and when we did our tax deed sale this fall, I have 2 parcels that are left over. So should you decide to go the tax deed way, maybe that'd be a good time to do that as well. And then in regards to Mr. Barsa comment, are there any other ones out there? The county, I believe, has, if Rich and if I remember what Rich and I were talking about, is probably the name on 200 parcels out there. And I think that this is kind of an off year for me for elections, and if this commission would like to do that, well, I'd like to audit some of those with the help of Kyle and Rich and kind of go through them and talk to DJ and find out which ones the county wants to keep and which ones might be available for putting back in the tax rules.
Any other questions for Ken? Are there any questions for the applicant?
And he is here, and he may want to make a few comments.
Do you want to make any comments? If you do, just come up and identify yourself and give your name and your address, please.
My name is Ben Souls. I live in Brandon, and the property is the old grain elevator, which I own. And when the entrance to the industrial park was widened, they added a lane for trucks to line up to go into the grain elevator. So it's a good entrance to the property that I own, and that's why I've been asking about it.
Are there any questions for them?
Yeah,
Commissioner Kelly?
Did you donate it in the first place, or was it donated from somebody else?
No, it was from someone else.
Pardon?
It was from someone else. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Nancy.
Thank you.
Nancy.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
I think we have our marching orders just to get some more details on the property for us. Any other questions or comments on that? Okay.
Item number 19 is update and status report of the 90th legislative session on bills that may impact Minnehaha County. Robert.
Good morning, Commissioners. Robert Wilson with the Commission Office. I'm going to cover a number of bills that we've talked about a couple of times already this session, but maybe we haven't spoken about in the last few weeks. So I've got a list I'm going to go through. As always, if you have questions about other bills, please jump in and ask me. First one I'm going to start with is 1106. Act to establish the rights of municipal, county, or township officers in certain decision-making processes. And again, this is one that a bill that was spurred out of an action here at Minnehaha County would provide some clarification of what you as elected officials can do to review items that are before you for consideration, and it would just give you a little more clarification of what is allowed under statute. That bill has passed the House and has now been referred to state and local government, and it passed on a 68-1 margin. So to this point, on the House side, it was met with wide support. If there aren't any questions on that,
They have an interesting name for that bill.
I wasn't going to bring that up if you didn't, unless you did. But that I have heard the name of the Dick Kelly bill attached to that one. So.
Yeah.
House Bill 1112 is one of the bills that was brought forward by the SDACC, or your state association, that would provide authority to counties to prohibit and restrict the use of fireworks. That was introduced, and that was deferred to the 41st day. So that bill is dead for this year. And as an association, you may want to take another look at it in the future. But for now, that one is not going to happen at least this year. House Bill 1131. This is the major highway bridge funding package that was proposed by the governor's office. This is up for a hearing in House State Affairs tomorrow, and again, this one is getting quite a bit of attention, and a lot of the different groups around the state are weighing in on this, as it would be a major piece of legislation for the transportation infrastructure. But that we'll get a good read on the thoughts and opinions of that among legislators tomorrow. We'll follow up with you next week. This is one, House Bill 1153, an act to expand the definition of teleconferencing to include certain meetings conducted through electronic text, and to require retention of certain records of text meetings for public inspection. And really, this is language that if a quorum of elected officials were to go back and forth through text messages, and for county-related businesses, we need to keep a record of that and have that available. As practice, you know that as we push out information to you, we ask that you respond individually to us. So we do not get in a situation where we would be in any kind of violation of this communication. But it is a bill that's up. It's been referred to House Local Government. Has not had a hearing yet, but it's one of those interesting bills, and obviously one that would relate to public access of the discussion, and what I'm happy to say that we already follow the provisions of what could potentially be enacted.
You skipped over.
Please jump in.
You skipped over a word because I was kind of curious what colloquy.
I did skip over that because I'm not.
Do you have any idea?
Discussion.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Discussion amongst multiple people as opposed to a soliloquy, which is by yourself.
Thank you.
Yep. There you go. How's that?
You are
That
absolutely.
wasn't a legal question, but.
I think there was one more House bill here that House Bill 1216. This is the bill that Mr. McFarland was up testifying on the House Taxation Committee last week, and the act to repeal the limitation on the total amount of revenue payable from taxes on real property for all taxing districts except school districts. This, by a somewhat surprising move, this did make it out of Taxation Committee last week. You might have to say it's the influence of some of the folks testifying on the bill, but it passed out of committee. It was defeated on the House floor later in the week, but it was certainly an issue that's been important to to this commission in the past, and it did have a hearing not only on the committee side, but also on the House floor last week. And if I have a few more minutes.
Robert, you skipped over 1121.
1121.
Is there any concerns with that bill? That's the one on speed limits in the township roads.
You know, that I have not spoken with the highway department on that one. I can tell you that it passed without a no vote in both House local government and in the House. I'm more than happy to defer to the highway department if they've been tracking it or if they wanted to say anything about it.
But it just seems that we're taken out of the loop there, and I'm not sure we want 100 different speed zones in the county.
There is a notification provision to the county.
Well, it said that, yeah, I thought that, but then it said this would allow the township to establish speed limits on township roads without involving the county commission.
And that they don't have to come to us for approval, but there is a notification process
within the bill.
that they've done.
Okay, that's my primary concern. I don't know if DJ had any concerns or not.
DJ, you want to come to the podium? Do you have any concerns with this bill? You see that it's going to go to the House Transportation Committee.
I'm pulling up the bill right now. From what I understand, just giving the townships full authorization to pass their own speed limits without having to come to the county commission. A couple thoughts: it would be less work for us. I think that we would still be involved a little bit because just providing some technical assistance to the townships. My major concern would be that they would be posting speed limits willy-nilly, for the lack of a better term, just on their own without really necessary reason or justification for it. But with the proper training and things like that, I think they would benefit from this bill as long as they were doing it correctly.
Thank you. Want to move on, Robert?
I did have a couple others if you
Yep.
don't mind. The next one I was going to mention was Senate Bill 2. And this is the act to provide the establishment of river basin natural resource districts and to repeal certain provisions related to county drainage management. And that was a proposal that was floated a few months back that would create these river basin drainage management districts around the state. Would really be a new look at how, as a state, drainage issues are managed, and it was referred to Senate Ag and Natural Resources and has its first committee hearing this morning. So it would be could be a substantial change in the way drainage is addressed, and it will we'll get the first read on that today and see what the level of support is for that bill. Again, I think I mentioned it early on as the session began and haven't touched on it recently. Wanted to make you aware of that. And then one last bill I will mention that Human Resources has been following is an act to revise certain provisions regarding veterans' preferences for all veterans who are United States citizens and seeking employment with county, the state, or a municipality. And in recognizing veterans' preferences in the hiring process, it would remove the requirement that the applicant is also a resident of the state. And again, that there were no votes on that as it moved through the Senate side, and one no vote in both the House committee and on the House floor. It's been signed by the governor, and that will go into effect on the 1st of July.
Okay. Any questions for Robert on legislation? All right. Thank you, Robert.
Item number 20 is Minnehaha County Commissioner Liaison Report. Any commissioners?
Are there any commission reports? Seeing none. All right.
Item number 21 is new business.
Is there any new business? Is there any old business? Oh, wait a minute. We have some new business. Sorry, Kyle.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kyle Halseth, Director of Equalization. In order to keep you in the forefront of information, and this is just information that came about at 8:30 this morning, only because we're so date sensitive within our office, we are providing an informational meeting tomorrow night and Thursday night for all of the township and town supervisors for the boards of equalization. And within that information packet that we provide them, we try to provide them with growth or increase in value within their county or within their township or the city. And it's even on yellow paper. I haven't even had a chance to type it out. Everybody wants to know what we grew. What can we put out, and rightfully so. Again, I want to reemphasize this is just total growth. This is not new growth that we can add to or increase our levies on. But last year we started out with $12,753 million in value. This year, when we send the notices out next week, we're up to $13,388 million, for an overall increase of $635 million in value. Looking at it in its totality, that's a 5% increase from the year before. But growth from there looks like it's going to be in the 2.3 to 2.5% range. We have reappraised that much. We have also added out, and part of this is the $115 million increase in agricultural land valuation because of state codified law. It's good numbers, but I didn't want it coming back to you after I talked to the towns and townships tomorrow night with these numbers. And like I say, it was 8:30 this morning when we got it. So the valuations are going out, the notices next week, and then we begin, I think as we refer to it in the office, March Madness, when we get into the boards of equalization. So come one, come all. Thank you. Questions, please?
Questions for Kyle? Okay.
It's a pretty good chunk of change. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any old business?
I have some old business.
Commissioner Kelly.
This regarding House Bill 1216. I don't normally comment on statements made by other elected officials on the floor of the legislature, but remarks made last week on the House floor by State Representative Don Hager during debate on House Bill 1216 pertaining to the restriction on property taxes deserves an answer. He stated the proposed amendment to 10-13-35 was tantamount, those are his words, to putting a jar of candy on a representative's desk and expecting it to stay full. Though I don't understand why you put the candy there in the first place then. But and so he went on, and I quote, those county officials are going to find ways to spend the money. Their appetites will rise to the level of the candy available. That's what will happen. I would suggest that Mr. Hager attend any of our budgets hearings to see the thoughtfulness and agony that we go through to bring our expenditures to a level that will meet the artificial ceilings imposed upon us by the legislature. Mr. Hager was invited to attend any of our budget meetings last summer, and I'm not aware of his attendance at any of them. His inference that county commissioners are somehow intellectually lower in their ability to make sound decisions than members of the House of Representatives borders on dishonesty. All 5 of us keep the tax-paying citizens firmly in our minds on every decision we make. We keep the county safe from those who choose to break the law. Felonies are up 56% in the last 5 years. We take care of those who need our help. We keep our roads and bridges safe. Excuse me. And we provide for the defense of criminals, of those who commit crimes within the walls of the state penitentiary where we have no jurisdiction. The list can go on. Each year, we go to Peer to ask for assistance to resolve these problems and get the same answer. Whether it be asking for the ability to shift the economic burden imposed by 5% of the population that consumes 48% of the alcohol purchased and is responsible for about 70% of the money spent on public safety to pay through a user fee rather than property taxes to all our residents. Public safety is over 50% of our county general fund. Or simply asking that the personal property cap be raised from 1.4% to more honestly reflect the increases all of us are feeling when we pay our utility bills, when we go to the grocery store, or when we try to meet our health costs and medical insurance premiums. I think Mr. Hager owes an apology to the 325 county commissioners he insulted with his remarks, and perhaps try to work with us to find solutions, which is more difficult than simply saying being against everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kelly. Are there any other comments? Commissioner Barth?
I guess I applaud Commissioner Kelly for bringing this up because if any of us listened to the debate over 1216 on the House floor, it was really disappointing to see the attitude that some had towards us. There's a Representative Toulson who's from Lake Norton, and I'm reading a quote from him. I was a county commissioner, and if many of you here, he was speaking at a Cracker Barrel, have been there or are township board people, I trust you. You are not going to tax yourself unless you really see a need, not a want, but a need. Anyway, I think that's exactly how we are. Certainly, it's clearly the governor, the Supreme Court, the legislature are all telling us that there's no problem opting out. We've given you that option to opt out, and that's what you ought to do. And so if it comes to that, I personally think that property taxes are high enough. I think that an alternative tax, like a tax on alcohol, is what we need. But when the time comes and we opt out, we need to point the finger at Don Hager and say, this is what he told us to do. This is what he told us we must do. And we can do that to quite a few of those folks in Pierre who refuse to step forward. And they are not raising taxes by helping us with some of these bills, but they are causing us to do that, and I object to it. Thank you, Dick.
Any other comments? Is there any other old business? I would look for a motion for executive session for personnel, contracts, and a legal briefing.
That's my motion.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. We're adjourned.